Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles back again for another review. This time it's the Hot Toys VGM24 or Video Game Masterpiece Snowtrooper Deluxe version. Now they did release a separate standalone movie Masterpiece series figure with just the standard blaster from the movie. But this one here, I guess I saw the sales on here at the local retailer, so I got this at Pop Culture for 20% off. But then I didn't realize that another retailer here locally called Zing actually had an even bigger discount. So I could have paid about $30 less for this. But either way, it wasn't too bad a deal. So I decided to pick it up because it did release maybe 6 or 7 months ago now, earlier in 2017. And it was probably a good idea for me to wait until the Christmas sales to get it. So here you see the figure, and overall it is definitely an improvement over the previous Sideshow version, which I still have. I have the exclusive version of that, and I'll bring that out in a second to do a quick comparison. But I'll quickly go through the accessories here and give you guys a closer look. Alright, first up is the snow base, which I think is essentially exactly the same as their sand base, but with a white and bluish tinge paint application for the snow. I do hate that they did not include in this particular version the usual crotch grabber. They did include instead this version where you can use him in that flight pose for the rocket pack and the rocket launcher, which is disappointing, but hopefully he's stable enough that I can just sort of squeeze the feet in there and have him standing without the crotch grabber. Alright, so this deluxe version comes with some more accessories from the video game itself, like this rocket pack here, which looks pretty nice. It's nicely painted and molded with some nice bits of weathering and so on around it. You do get these flame effects that you can sort of squeeze in there and have that sort of in-flight look. It does look a little bit cheesy and cheap, so I won't be using these at all. Because they didn't appear in the movie, but overall a nice addition there, and it does come with this pretty big rocket launcher as well, which is nicely, very nicely molded, and it's got the nice sort of silver weathering on it and silver wash, so it's very nicely done. So pretty decent accessory for those who do like the video game, but I'll be sticking with just the standard blaster here from the movie, and as always Hot Toys does a pretty good job of it. Here's the original Sideshow version, pretty similar in size and detail. The weathering on the Hot Toys is probably a shade darker and a bit nicer, more metallic, and the molding, I guess, in the sort of holes here are a bit better than the old Sideshow version, but overall essentially the same design. The standard backpack is pretty nicely done as well, and there is a magnet in there to help put the or at least hold the backpack on. Now I can't actually remember if the Sideshow version had a magnet, but I do remember it being a bit of a pain in the ass to get the backpack on, so once I grab it out of the cabinet I'll compare the two, but either way this one does look pretty nice. And of course it comes with the stand or the waist grabber that you put him on once you get him up on that stand. It comes with the what do they call it? Can't remember what sort of bomb it is, or can't actually remember the term, but mine actually came broken out of the box, but it does look like it's just a quick bit of glue to glue that back on, so I'll just stick that back on. So no major no major issue there. And the hands are the last bit of accessories, and this is probably one area of massive improvement over the Sideshow version. The gloves are nicely textured and molded there, and have far better definition in the fingers and so on than the old Sideshow version, but I'll give you guys a closer look at that now once I get both figures out. Hold on. Alright, so here are the two Snowtroopers together with the Hot Toys on the left and the old Sideshow on the right. Now this exclusive version from Sideshow was going for absolutely insane money on eBay prior to Hot Toys' announcement of their Snowtrooper. But I think the price has definitely dropped once Hot Toys released theirs, and you can clearly see from the difference in the helmet there. I think the Hot Toys version is far more accurate to the movie itself, particularly in the eyes with the lenses there. The lenses on the Sideshow version, which I never really noticed to be honest until now, are actually quite a lot smaller with their opening. It looks like there's maybe even just that tad bit of plastic that could have been almost cut away a bit more on the Sideshow version. And of course the other big difference is the cowl here over the face. On the Sideshow version, it's pretty much a thick sort of soft plastic mold that's pretty much got that design to it. There's no sort of play in the material at all, but with the Hot Toys version, it's a very sort of thin, almost plasticky or a vinyl type material, but it's a very thin material that sort of folds and bends as you turn the head around. So it does look different depending on how you have it posed, whereas the old Sideshow version pretty much has that fixed molded look to it. And I guess for its time it wasn't too bad, but I'm definitely glad Hot Toys went with that design for theirs. From the armor perspective, I'm not going to bother trying to move this guy too much, but the armor itself, I can't really see too much of a difference, to be honest. Now I'm not even sure if Hot Toys used the same sort of armor pieces as the old Sideshow, but if I just turn to the side, I guess I can clearly see now that they're not the same piece, because the Sideshow piece is a much broader design than the Hot Toys version, so it sort of flares out quite a bit more, and you can almost tell some of the weathering, the paint application on the weathering there is a pretty low standard compared to what you see today, whereas the weathering on the Hot Toys is a lot more natural looking and realistic. So definitely prefer the Hot Toys on that one. I think where the Sideshow probably beats out the new Hot Toys is in the fabric. I actually much prefer the fabric on the old Sideshow version, in the pants for example. The pants on the Hot Toys version are quite a bit creamish in colour and almost a little too clean. The tailoring is nice and the material is nice. It's more of a khaki type material than the sort of suede-ish type material of the original here on Sideshow. So the Karma here on the Sideshow version is also a sort of softer felt type material, whereas on the Hot Toys version it's almost like a soft suede, almost like a deer skin if you want to call it that, and it's got that sort of creamish colour to it as well. So I actually prefer the original Sideshow for that one. The knee pads themselves look pretty similar as well, and both of them have the sort of elastic strap around the knee, so the design there hasn't changed too much. The boots, it actually seems like there's more detail in the molded plastic of the Sideshow version. It is one piece on the Sideshow version, I think, so there's no real articulation in the ankles there, whereas the Hot Toys version there is a break at that ankle joint, so you can get that ankle rocking motion. So the foot itself is a separate piece, but from a distance it does look like one single molded piece, but the detail does look pretty flat compared to what I'm seeing here in the Sideshow version. I guess it's a compromise between the detailed sort of look and the articulation of the Hot Toys. So again, it's hard to pick on that one, but I'd probably be leaning towards the Sideshow, to be honest. Base wise, this exclusive version, I think this snow base came with the exclusive version and this longer rifle, but I guess between the two I actually don't mind the look of this sort of standard look. These are okay, but they do take up quite a bit more space around the cabinet. But that's pretty much it. I think as I was saying before, the hands on the original Sideshow Trooper are pretty chunky, as you can see there, whereas I think the If I just show you the Hot Toys version, the fingers and the moulding are a little bit more defined. So either way, both look pretty good. I think the articulation in the body itself for the Hot Toys version, their underlying True Type body is definitely a better quality. But overall, the design, I think the weathering on the Sideshow version is pretty good. The material is pretty good. So I'll just slowly turn these around to give you guys a look at the back. So you'll see the material. Not sure if you can sort of make out the difference in sort of style. I do like that sort of felt look on the Sideshow version. The sort of different shades in the white are a little bit more my preference than on the Hot Toys Sideshow, where there's a lot more creams contrasting against the white of the armor. And here's the Hot Toys backpack. It actually looks a lot smaller than the Sideshow version. If you can see that side by side. So I'm not sure which one is more correct to scale. The figures are pretty much the same height, but the Sideshow backpack is a lot bigger. In terms of detail, the detailing is pretty much the same, but again I think the weathering on the Hot Toys version is maybe a tad more subtle and realistic. But again, either figure is pretty good. And you can probably get a quick look at the difference in the back of the helmet there. Looks like almost the Sideshow version is almost Vader-like, where the dome here comes in and then the bottom bit flares out, whereas the Hot Toys version pretty much just goes flat around with no flaring out of the helmet at all. So I'm actually not sure which one is more movie accurate, but I guess those are some differences to note. But that's pretty much it, I think. I'll just turn them around and finish up the review. Hold on. Hopefully you like that quick look at the Sideshow and Hot Toys Snowtroopers. For me, if you're looking for a figure now, I would probably lean towards the Hot Toys, just for the sort of aesthetics in its helmet, eyes, and overall sort of articulation in the figure. But if you do have the old Sideshow version here on the right, I'm not sure if you really need to be in a hurry to get rid of it. It still looks pretty good on display, and it sort of stands up okay next to the Hot Toys version as maybe a different slight variant of the figure. But I guess I am definitely running out of room in mine, so I'm tossing up, I guess, whether or not I want to sell the Snowtrooper here on the right, and I probably won't be getting a good price as I probably could have back in the day, but I normally sell mine at pretty much the cost that I got them for. So if you're looking for a Snowtrooper and you're interested in the Sideshow version, leave a comment in the description, particularly if you're in Australia as well. I do prefer to sell locally, but if you are looking for the Snowtrooper here on the left by Hot Toys, I think Pop Culture and Zing in particular, Zing probably has their sale still on, so you can get the Snowtrooper for a pretty damn good price, Australian wise, in the low 200s, so definitely worth that price if you can get it. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys can click that like and subscribe button. I do have the Hot Toys Marty McFly from Back to the Future 2 review coming up next, so hopefully you can subscribe and stay tuned for that. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.